Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Wednesday morning, hump day, middle of the week, and only a few more days to get to the weekend. Got a great video planned out for you guys today. Today, I want to talk a little bit about not a comment, but I guess you can say it was a comment, but it was a comment in my real everyday life that I had recently heard from someone when I was talking to them. I had told the person, we're on the same road as Venezuela. And this person told me, you know what, you've said that before and nothing has happened. And I find it comical. It's not the first time I've heard this. But Venezuela didn't happen in one day. There is no specific one day that took Venezuela from essentially one of the top countries in that region to where it went to. It took time. It was a slow road at first until, I guess you can say, until a day that it kind of happened all at once, maybe. I guess if I had to say the specific defining factor for Venezuela, I would say when they revalued the money and lopped off 3 zeros, and then not too long later on, another 8 years later, they ended up lopping off 5 zeros off their currency. That might have been a huge factor. In fact, I would say it was, but it didn't get to that 5 zeros overnight. It took time. It was a slow road, and that's kind of what I want to talk a little bit about today, because when I hear people make these comments, I ask myself, why are you looking at gold and silver then? Well, we're going to get into that. Obviously you see something that is pointing to, I want to kind of get some sort of an insurance policy if things keep getting worse. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you enjoy the video, take a quick minute, help me out by hitting that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. We are still trying to grow the channel. We are at 15,000 subscribers now, so I thank y'all for hitting that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on what's going on, because there is definitely a lot going on. Now, right off the bat, got to take a quick minute and say everybody is probably watching precious metals, as I am too. We have the Fed meeting today. And like I said, there's a good chance we will see the DXY possibly get strengthened a little bit, and that could cause a pullback in gold and silver. I also did mention that there is a possibility we will see a flip on Bitcoin and silver today or this week after they announce whatever the Fed is going to announce. We're already seeing that move taking place. We're seeing gold and silver dip down as of right now. We're seeing Bitcoin climb up a little bit more as of right now. And we're seeing silver essentially at 2.384 trillion and Bitcoin at 2.323 trillion. So there's a chance we're going to see these flip. One of the other interesting things is, as they do flip, there's a possibility they're going to pass up Amazon. And so that's going to be pretty interesting. I think both assets will do good in the near future. Even silver, even though it may pull back a little bit today, as of you guys watching this video, as of right now, at the time of filming this video, silver is down to 41.79. It's down 71 cents, or almost 2%. Now, I didn't actually pull up the DXY. Let's take a quick look and see what the DXY is actually at. Do I already have it up? Nope. DXY index. So let's just pull this up real quick. We're at 96.71. There's a good chance this could pull up a little bit as we go into the Fed meeting today, as we give our Fed announcement. Especially curious to see what's going to happen, how that's going to play out. My personal opinion, we could see gold and silver get hit during the day. We could see it pop up right after the Fed announcement. There's a chance most likely they're going to cut interest rates. We've talked about that extensively on yesterday's video, so I'm not going to talk too much about that today until after the meeting. I'm really curious to see what they're going to say, how that's going to play out, and it's just we're going to have to wait a little bit. It ain't far away. As for if the silver price continues to dip, I hope it does. It's a great buying opportunity in my opinion. We have seen a lot of dips on the way up even higher. Some of them are, smaller dips that last, the long dips only seem to last about a week, but you take a look at this huge dip right here that we cite many times as the end of the first financial quarter does come to an end. A lot of short positions get cleared, and we do see the price really take a huge dip. Do I think it will be this bad? I don't think it will be this bad. This was like a $6 drop, essentially. Would I like to see a $6 drop? I ain't going to lie. I would love to see $35 silver. I just don't think that's practical. I think the best we might see possibly $39.50, and that would probably come towards the end of the month. And that would be a huge dip when you think about it. If we see $39.50, that would be a huge dip, and it would be awesome. I would be happy to see that because I know every time those big dips come, it increases the demand. More people want to invest in the physical, whether that be for stackers, whether that be for industrial demand. People are not stupid. They're going to buy the items that are on sale. I shouldn't say people. Some people, the people that are actually buying gold, buying silver, I'm not convinced they're stupid. They're looking for opportunities, and a big drop in the price could be what we would essentially be looking for. Much lower than 95, much lower than 39.50. I don't actually think it's going to happen. However, that's a possibility that we will see that. So hopefully we do by the end of the month. I talked to a few people, and a couple people that I talked to said the demand now is just getting too big. If we end up seeing some sort of a dip like that, they would essentially wipe out the COMEX. Here's the thing. I'm convinced as of now, there's no coming off this road that we're on. We're starting to move higher. We might see some pullback, but the pullback is just noise, essentially. It's designed to distract people. I've had a few people. Here it is, literally 1 a.m., and in the last 4 hours, I've talked to 2 people that say they're a little concerned about this pullback, and I find it comical. Silver is only down $1, essentially, if that. I can't even say that. It's 67 cents, 1.5%. With the climb that we have been on, this is nothing. If you truly understand the fundamentals of why you are stacking, this is just a buying opportunity. Now, this is not financial advice, nor should it be considered as such. However, it's definitely something to think about. We got gold right now trading at $3,677. A nice drop, but is it really that much? Not that much. $12. That's it. Off of the all-time high, really. So there again, Bitcoin, hey, if you're stacking Bitcoin, congratulations. You're looking really good right now with Bitcoin back up to 116,000. Looking really good as it is continuing to climb. Like I said, there's a good chance we're going to see Bitcoin pass up silver for the brief run, especially if they cut interest rates. A lot of money will go into Bitcoin, which will drive it higher and just pass the silver. I think both of them will probably be passing Amazon within a month, and so we'll see how that plays out. Federal Reserve meeting, not going to beat that up too much because we've already talked about that in yesterday's video. Obviously, that's the hot item for today, this afternoon, when they decide to give the Fed minutes and whether or not they're going to cut interest rates. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So let's take a few minutes now and talk about what I wanted to talk about today, about I've heard this before. Venezuela didn't happen in a day. It didn't. It was a slow road. In fact, the whole process, I want to say took 15 years, but I think in order to say 15 years, you're essentially not counting anything that happened in the beginning, because the road to seeing money collapse is a very slow road at first. You think about how long we've been using an unbacked dollar, as currency. We've been using it for quite some time now. And people now are starting to see, because the dollar really doesn't collapse until people lose faith in the dollar. Once people lose faith and they don't want to accept it, or they want to hurry up and get rid of it like it's a hot potato, yeah, you'll still go to work for it. I mean, even in Venezuela, people still went to work for the bolivar. But as soon as they got it, they wanted to convert it. And the quicker they converted it, the faster it fell, essentially, because they don't want to hold it. They want to hurry up and dump it. Now, for a while, too, you don't see the collapse because times are tough. Now, what does times are tough have to do with that? When times are tough, what's the first thing people want to do? When people realize hard times are here, and that's why I find it interesting they're not actually promoting hard times. They're doing just the opposite here in this country. They're making it sound like the economy is great, things aren't bad, it's no big deal. And so what that does is that gives people a certain amount of confidence. If you believe the nonsense that they're spewing, I guess you can say, that, the economy's great, it's never been better, this and that. What that does, that entices people to spend. And that's kind of what they want to a certain point. They want people to feel confident in spending. And that way we get the, tax generation. You spend $1, they make 8 cents off of it. Then I get that dollar, and then I spend it, they make 8 cents off of that. And it continues. Money revolving around makes them money. What happens when people get uncomfortable and they feel like the economy is slipping? Well, then naturally they're not going to spend. And when people don't spend, it does a couple things that are, some that are good, some that aren't. Obviously, generating taxes. If people aren't spending money, they're not paying in as much to the tax system. However, another thing that happens is when people hold dollars, it's no different than printing up a bunch of gift cards on a company and people not using them. If people aren't using them, if they're just holding them in their wallet, what happens? Think about that for a minute. Well, then obviously that money doesn't get into the Walmart. Well, I'm going to use Walmart, for instance. I said gift cards, but I'm saying that because I actually just went to Walmart and I actually used a gift card. But those gift cards, and that gift card's been sitting in my wallet with $20 on it now for probably like 3 months. And the only reason I pulled it out tonight was because I paid in the garden center for the item that I needed. And the guy said, look, someone opened this package. This is the last one. If you want it, you can still get it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll just ring it up here and I'll look up the barcode so you don't have any trouble. And so he did that for me. And I ended up paying for it. But he's like, I don't have any cash, so you have to pay with some sort of a card. And I'm not a huge fan of credit cards, especially on small purchases of a couple dollars. That to me, that's just a red flag, in my opinion. I don't like doing it. So needless to say, I had a gift card in my wallet. And I was like, oh, wait, I got this. And he goes, oh, okay. And he goes, and the great thing about that is you can see your balance. I said, oh, okay, cool, thanks. And needless to say, those gift cards, that's money that they get to hold. Can you imagine if the Fed just gave you, we'll say $1 billion, and you could do whatever you want with it for now? Don't worry, we're not going to ask for it back right off. I mean, you could essentially go out and buy silver, buy gold, buy property, buy anything that is going to essentially go up in value during inflationary times. And the more money they print and then it doesn't get used, it just gets tucked under a mattress somewhere or thrown somewhere or put away, well, that's perfect for them. I actually know one guy that for the longest time, he would write his checks out, and the deal was that he might put like a week or two on them and say, look, hey, man, you mind? I'm going to pay you with a check right now, but you got to hold it for a week or two or whatever the deal was that he said. And what he was essentially doing was getting people to fund his stuff. And they didn't even realize it. It's like interest-free loans. Now, somebody might say, well, really, come on, what is $3,000 going to make a difference in a business? It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. If you're Lay's potato chips and I write you a check and it's got a 1 week out on it, well, think about what that does. That means that I get your product and I actually get to sell a portion of it and get the money into the bank as soon as the money comes in before I even have to pay for the product. That gives you a huge edge. And I think people don't realize what happens when everybody's saving their dollars. When they're holding them dollars, that money, it's not going into circulation. It's not driving the prices up of the everyday items that we're buying until it gets spent. And what happened when you look at Weimar Germany after the war, people were scared. Depression, essentially, they were printing money like crazy. People knew the economy was rough. They knew they were in trouble after they had lost the war. And what did they do? They held their money. They saved and saved and saved. And then all of a sudden, people started feeling comfortable, and then they started spending it in circulation. What we're seeing right now is a lot of bills, a lot of money that went overseas is slowly working its way back into the U.S. As more of that dollars come home to roost, you might say, what is that going to do? That's going to start raising the prices of everything we buy. And as that happens, we're going to see inflation. It's going to start coming. It's going to start hitting harder. It's going to be painful. I know I just went and got gas, $3.50. I was lucky that I seen one place that was still at $2.50 when everybody went up to the $2.99, a 50-cent jump. And so I ended up going out really last night, late, and said, you know what, I'm going to go gas up right now. Because I had seen it. I wasn't in my vehicle. I was with somebody else. And then I said, I'm going to go gas up now and just top it off. And I did. And, I know someone out there might say, whoop-de-doo, 9 gallons. It's not like it's going to break you. It's $4.50. But every time you fill up and save a little money, it all adds up. It's adding pennies to the pile, I call it. And those pennies do actually add up to more. So it's something to think about. But to say that we are not on the road to Venezuela, I think, or that you've heard this before, I think people need to really think about what's happening and how quick things can keep going up. And I know some people are still upset that silver hasn't gone up to a new all-time high yet. When we have gold, new all-time highs almost every week we're seeing them. But that's okay, because eventually that's just giving us a little more time to stack silver. I'll be honest, I've been discouraged a little bit that I put maybe a little extra into gold, and I wished I had put a little bit more of that into silver. There's not as many opportunities now for essentially cheap silver. But 41.89 coming down. Hopefully it will keep coming down, and we'll see how today goes. With that being said, let me take a look real quick how long we've been talking. Okay, 18 minutes. Okay, I'm just checking real quick here. Boom. Why is it doing that? Hopefully y'all can see what I'm looking at. Okay. Not going to be a long video, I don't think, today. Some days they are long, some days they're not. Really, a lot of people are just waiting on what's going to happen with the Fed today. If you want to make a comment below saying what you think the Fed's going to do. If the Fed's already did it, if you're watching this video at 5 o'clock at night and you already know the results, it's not as cool. I'll be honest. But if you're putting this comment in early in the morning or sometimes before 2 o'clock Eastern time, put a comment in. What do you think? It's going to cut interest rates by 1/4? I think we're going to cut interest rates 1/4%. I don't think they're going to do any more than that because too many countries are dumping the dollar. They're not wanting to buy U.S. debt right now. And if we lower the interest rates, it's going to make it even less desirable when you already have people moving into countries, moving into gold, moving into silver. Some people might think that they're not going to cut interest rates. I think I don't know how to call it, but I think the pressure, I guess you can say, from this administration is going to be too great if they don't cut interest rates. And so I think they're going to have to cut them. Do I want to see them cut them? Unfortunately, the ultimate thing to kind of make stuff a little bit better, I think, is just do the unthinkable and skyrocket interest rates, raise them even higher, pull a Paul Volcker. What would happen? People would panic. people would slow down on spending. People would essentially pay off their bills. They would definitely try to pay down some of their bills, their revolving bills that are, the interest rate is flexible. And I think that would be a good thing. Yes, it would be painful, but at the end of the day, people need to start slowing down on their spending and pay their bills down. I hate to say it like that. With that being said, not going to be a long video. I'm kind of exhausted tonight. It's been a super hard day and a long day. And so that's going to wrap up the video, really. We talked about pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. It just kind of, it didn't upset me. It just kind of irked me that people think the road to Venezuela happens overnight. It doesn't happen. There's an old saying, it happens slow at first and then all at once. And really, that's exactly what it's doing. It's been slow. It's starting to pick up momentum, and it's going to pick up even more momentum. And either you're prepared or you're not. And when that day comes, that's going to be it. I really think when this is over, I don't think the U.S. is going to be the world reserve currency. I think there will be some sort of a new monetary system in place. I don't think the U.S. is going to be on top of it anymore. I think we're going to be kind of backburnered, and I think there's going to be a lot of people in pain with debt. And I know a lot of people, I shouldn't say the word that you're going to own nothing. Some of y'all know the end of that slogan by 2030. It's a touchy subject. You talk too much about that. So with that being said, going to wrap the video up here. A little bit short today, but some days they're long, some days they're short. I just kind of wanted to talk about this, and I knew it wouldn't be a long video. So with that being said, please take a quick minute, check out some of these other great videos. Definitely a lot going on right now, and so a lot of good videos have been coming up lately. So I thank you all for watching, commenting, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Do you think they're going to cut interest rates, raise them, 0.25%? What do you think? And I will see you guys again tomorrow on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.